How would you define a team's mission? So a team is together, they're working together at a common goal. We've got coaches that listen to this podcast. We've got lots of business owners. We've got a lot of people in the church world, but really a lot more coaches and business owners. What would you say is vision to Jenni? How do you, if you were going in working with a team and they're like, okay, we've got a vision statement and we have it up here. How would you define vision as it associates with that why?
Yeah. So, and there are this can be parsed out a few different ways. So I don't kind of hang on the definitions too tightly, but the mission to me is the thing that doesn't change in your organization. Like for us, that's cultivate healthy leaders to lead thriving teams. It is what's our why and who are we trying to serve? So like that statement that is, it'll last us 30 years, unless we were to have a mission change. But like our mission is to cultivate healthy leaders and thriving teams. So it is that it's what we do and who we serve is mission in my mind. Vision is more of where are we going in pursuit of that mission.
That's good.
So one of our goals in 2021, our 2021 vision was 100,000 leaders served in that year. So we're cultivating healthy leaders to lead thriving teams. We wanted to hit 100,000 leaders by 2021. That was the first 5 years of our business. That's a vision because it's more time-bound and quantifiable. That's how I decipher those two. Now, some people will flip-flop that or nuance it. I don't really care. I don't get hung up on you have to do it exactly that way. But I think you need to know. So you as business leader, coach, whatever, you need to know, how do I define those things? And then have I brought enough clarity to them that my team understand them? I think a good mission statement is 5 to 10 words.
Yeah.
It is like that succinct thing that people can say, healthy leaders, thriving teams. Like my team can say that, healthy leaders, thriving teams. That's what we do over and over and over and over. Now, how we do that is going to play out in a multitude of different ways. And then the vision statement is, what's that big audacious goal that is on the horizon for us, that helps us be dreaming bigger, thinking bigger, and trying to make sure that we know what we're aiming for. It kind of gives everybody that North Star of, yes, healthy leaders and thriving teams, but to what end?
To what end? That's right.
Yeah.
So does it matter that people outside your organization understand that vision? Does it matter that your clients who you're serving all over the country, one of those 100,000, does it matter that they know that, or does it matter just that your team knows that?
In our case, it matters more to me that our team knows that. I think that might vary by, I'm trying to just think of a few scenarios. It might be inspiring in some cases. But my sense, Mike, is that I'd have to really think this through in different scenarios. In some cases, it might just look like an ego metric.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want it to come across as that, right?
Good word.
So, for me, I want people to know, I want the clients we serve to know our heart. And our heart is for you to be a healthy leader and for you to build a thriving team. So I'm much more concerned, our mission. The vision pushes me and my team to make sure we don't get comfortable, because we're there are millions of leaders that need support. If we just hit 100,000 of them, we're scratching the surface, right? But without backstory and even more of the heart behind the why, that might just be a vanity metric in some people's eyes. And for us, it's more about what pushes us to go, how do we connect with more leaders? What are avenues where we can, serve more leaders better? But that could be different in different contexts. There might be some context.
So put back on your church hat. You served in the church world a long time at some really, really great churches.
Yeah.
How would that even play in the church world? So let's say a church says, we want to reach 100,000 people in the next 5 years and help them take their next step towards Christ. Mm-hmm. Is that something you tell people publicly, or is that something you keep internal with your staff and your people? How do you handle that?
Again, I think that could probably vary by the culture of the church. I will say, in some cases, It's been more about we did multi-site in the churches that I was a part of, 5 more communities in 5 years.
Gotcha.
Well, that made the people sitting in our chairs on Sunday morning, the spirit of that was they wanted a church closer to their community and their neighborhood for the neighbors that they want to invite. And that was energizing to them. They could get behind that vision, because it wasn't just about, oh, let's get, thousands of more people in this room, to make us all feel better. It was like, no, what are the vision elements that might be about getting into your local communities and helping you connect even more people with the hope of the gospel. So there were cases like that where we said, the vision was, we want to launch 2 more campuses in 2 years, or whatever that might be. And the heart and the mission even behind that was so that we could reach more people. And it wasn't just centric to this one space. And we did a lot, particularly when I was in Nashville, we did a lot of outreach in the community, a lot of partnerships with local schools and things like that. And that was kind of tied into that vision of, every community we went into, it meant not just launching a church, it meant expanding those community outreach services that we could do. And so that was a vision that people could get pretty excited about. So you've probably got some examples.
No,
of
that's
that
really,
too, huh?
well, it's really good. And it's that fine line of, you don't want the person you're reaching to feel like a number.
Yes.
And you don't want that person to go, oh, so you just set this goal and now I'm that one of those 100. But if you don't have it, you don't go reach them. So it's that delicate balance. We talk always about, our mission is to help people find their way home. And we do that by loving God, loving people, and living sent. That's our deal.
Yep.
And we love God with all we got. We love people with all we got. And let's go live sent. Let's just go out and make a difference. But what we fail at a lot of times is establishing that larger piece of, okay, this is what that looks like.
Yes.
And my detriment as a leader is, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to make somebody feel like a number.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic. It's a weird dynamic, but if you don't present something, there's no clarity, and then people don't know where to go.
Yeah. I mean, you just were connecting the dots there of like and I think it's a healthy tension for us to manage as leaders in any context. I think church leaders need to be hyper aware of this, but I think any leader in any setting, making sure that those big goals aren't just ego goals, right? And that's a tension to manage. I don't know that we ever strike that balance exactly right. I think we have to just be very conscious of it, and then have like good people around us helping us really process, is this about helping us stretch for the good of the mission, or is this about me, how I measure up against the competition, or, like whatever the scenario might be. But I love what you said there too about the lack of clarity then for the team, because if we just state the mission, so you just stated the mission for North Star, that's awesome. The first question everybody else asks, whether it be staff or congregation, is how, right? So it's a fantastic mission, and it sounds good and it sounds appropriate, but then we do the vision statement starts to take it a step further and go, okay, how? Here's the target. And then we get even more granular with more strategies and tactics and so forth. And I think that's the thing that is important for leaders to understand, because we will hear the mission and get pretty excited about it. I get really excited about healthy leaders and thriving teams.
Yep.
There's a million things in my mind of what that means to me and how we do it. So when I succinctly say healthy leaders and thriving teams, I know what I mean, and I could go write a game plan in my sleep, because I've been living that mission. So it's so much a part of me because I'm the leader, right? And the same is probably true for you at the church, right? You know what you mean by that mission. You know what it means to live sent. But somebody who's newer to the church, it's like, I think I get that. I think I understand what that means. but that's where like vision can start to help paint the picture for it of like, what does that actually look like more quantifiably? And then we can get even more specific from there of, hey, here's some of the activities. And then there's a tension in that, right? In church leadership of like, how do we make sure it's not just about what we do, like.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, it's all complicated, right? That's why leadership is required, but